Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to the Blood, Sweat and Gears YouTube channel. Been really busy recently, so just haven't got around to cleaning this bike up to film this video. But it's finally done, and we're going to take you over the mods on this £15,000 Sur-Ron build. Before we get into today's video, please hit that subscribe button, leave me a like and drop me a comment for what video you'd like to see next. So this is my brother's Surron Lightby build. This bike is actually a 2020 bike, and if you remember from my older videos, they started out as a budget build. Now he got a bit carried away and he pretty much did every single mod that you can do to these bikes, and yeah, I think it's turned out great. The color looks fantastic, as you could have seen from the cinematics at the start. But yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through all the mods on this bike, listing them both in the video and then also linking them in the description below. So if you want to check out any of the parts for your own build, they're available in the description below. So I'll start from the front, work our way backwards as we do in most of our videos. And yeah, first thing is the front wheel. So at the front of the bike, we have the front wheel. Now this is actually the standard Surron front wheel. We think it's plenty strong enough. It's never buckled, never got a flat spot. It's fantastic. On that wheel is a MX33 tyre in a 70-119. Now, although it sounds small, this is actually a really wide tyre and it doesn't wear very quickly. This has been on it for over a year and the tyre's still doing great. Thoroughly recommend that. Now, working our way down, we have the E-volve wheel spacers. They're available in a wide variety of colours and they can suit any of your builds. So whether you've got red, blue, orange, purple, they're just a nice touch because with these type of forks, they really stick out the front and you can see them clearly. Now for the brake rotor, he's got a Magura 220mm floating rotor. I think the Surronster actually uses one of these, which is where he saw the got the idea from. So shout out to Surronster for that. And then this is all attached to his Marzocchi Bomber 58 forks. These forks were brand new. We got them last year. They were probably one of the first things we did to the bike, seeing as the stock forks broke. But he's got some custom graphics on them. So these are silver, obviously to match the rest of the silver parts. And the forks are doing really great. Same setup as on my bike. We both run the same amount of tokens, the same PSI. And yeah, really good. So coming up to the cockpit, we have a ODI number plate board with a custom graphics logo on the front. Number 69 because that's Sam's number, obviously. Then we've got the Pro Taper bars. These are 50mm rise. He did have an 80mm rise, but we couldn't get any in silver, so this was the only set we could find in silver with a 50mm rise. This is coupled to the DMR Defy stem. I actually run the same stem. It's great. It looks really nice. It's open at the front, so it looks really clean. And then for brakes, he's running the Formula Cura 4 brakes. If you've ever tried a set of these brakes, they are phenomenal, and they're not that expensive either. They're a little bit expensive, but they're not overly expensive, so I really recommend these if you're looking for a great set of brakes. They're available in black, silver and gold. He's gone for the black just to keep it clean and simple. Moving on, we've got the Pro Taper Pillow Top light grips. So there's two types of these Pro Taper grips available, the light and then the normal. The light are just a bit thinner, so they're not as thick. When you're holding on to it, it just helps reduce your arm pump. You get a bit more communication with where the front wheel is through the grip, which is a nice touch. This is just a standard egg rider for his BAC controller, but we'll get into that in a minute. And this is an NTC Designs egg rider case. This is a must if you ride in the woods because you really don't want to be replacing your egg rider every time you fall off. This just kind of shields it. Drop the bike, it's not a big deal. So coming down from the cockpit, obviously it's hard to avoid, but we've got this beautiful powder coated green frame. Sam actually took inspiration from a colour on a Porsche, which is called Jet Green Metallic. It's got some really good glittery flakes in it, as you can see now. And then we've got the controller cover and the bash guard. These are both from a UK company called E-volve. They were in raw to match his old build colours, but now he's had them powder coated in flat black, and they look absolutely stunning. They have big honeycomb vents on the front to keep your BAC cool, because if you have a BAC, you'll know they run pretty hot. And the bash guard is completely solid. Taken some big wax, even with the powder coat on, and it's not dented and it's not scuffed. So I really recommend that. Head on over to E-volve's website and take a look at their products if you want to buy something similar. Coming back from the bash guard, we have a Prickly Motorsport belt cover. But the interesting thing is that there's not actually a belt in there. That's a Warp 9 chain drive. So Sam was finding that he was snapping a lot of belts, as a lot of you running the 72 volt will. And the chain drive is a much better option because it can get dirty, it doesn't stress, it doesn't stretch, and it is only marginally louder than a belt. People complain all the time about them being really loud, but if you get the correct chain tension, they're not that loud. The Warp 9 set has a vulcanized rubber edges, so it keeps that vibration and rattling down. And yeah, Sam's really pleased with it. Around the key, we've got the NTC Designs ignition cover, and he's used a £2 coin to blank out the USB hole. This is actually an original Sur-Ron battery lid, but we sprayed it black and then put some lacquer on the top, and it's given it a really nice finish. So attached to the lovely battery lid, we have a 3D printed lid riser for his 72 volt battery. This comes from Ebike parts shop online. I actually have a discount code below if you need to get one of these for yourself. The discount code is Stingy Roger with 2 R's and all capitals, but there'll be a link in the description anyway. So make sure you go check that out if you're after a lid riser. He's actually going to get a new one made by Ronnie at Ebike Parts Shop in silver, so that's going to look cool. Now this is to space the lid up so that he can fit in his monster battery. Now this is a 72 volt 53 amp hour battery from JSH. Now JSH is a UK battery maker. They make great batteries, and at the time this was the only one that was available for next day delivery. So Sam grabbed it. He runs it at 14 kilowatts, and I'll tell you, for 14 kilowatts, this is the fastest bike I've actually ever ridden. It beats the 15 kilowatt EBMX bikes. It beats my 13 kilowatt bike. Yeah, it's a beast. It'll do 80 mile an hour and it'll cruise at 60. It's really fast. So powering this rocket of a bike is the Qs165 Motor. Now shout out to Electron Cycles. They had this motor in stock in the UK for next day delivery. When Sam's original motor broke, we thought, why not upgrade it rather than replace it? So this is actually designed for a 72 volt bike. It has a lot more torque and it stays a lot cooler, and I think this is part of the reason why this bike is so much faster than the other Surrons and Telerias that we've raced. Coming back from there, we have some NTC designed foot peg hangers with some foot pegs. Now he is going to upgrade to the E-volve ones, but for now these were available next day and he wanted to get the build done. They look great though. So here we have the Urban Pro seat. Now this is a taller and more comfy seat, but what it does is it brings the seat back flush with the battery lid, so it feels more like the stock bike. Obviously it raises the seat position, but if you counter it with the correct size linkage, it brings the bike to standard height and it creates a smooth transition from the seat to the battery lid rather than having that horrible gap as most of you 72 volt riders might have. So now if we come down from there, we have a EXT Armour MX shock. Now he's only had this for a couple of weeks. It took a while to get in, but he loves it. It's phenomenal. I run this on my bike, and if you're after a shock, this is the best on the market. Joined to the shock, we've got a prickly linkage and a triangle. Now these are great. This prickly linkage actually has roller needles as well as bigger bearings, and it comes with new hardware, so it's super smooth and it just helps you with the small bump compliance that this shock sometimes struggles with when it's new. Just makes the whole top of the shock feel really supple where there's less binding on the frame. Below this we have the original jack shaft, one of the few original parts left on the bike, but he's upgraded to a 14 tooth Warp 9 front sprocket. This is just to enable him to cruise at a higher speed when we're going on the longer trails. He can cruise at 50 mile an hour comfortably rather than the motor sort of screaming and being at 40. Yeah, he's impressed with that as well because it's made such a difference to the way that the bike feels. The motor's at a bit of a lower RPM constantly, which is good. Finally, we've got the back wheel and the mudguard. So The back wheel was obviously a Milk Racing 16-inch wheel. I'll leave a link on the screen now to the previous video we made on this wheel when we installed it. But the 16-inch wheel was great. It allows you to put a wider tyre on. This is a 90-116 Bridgestone tyre. It's called a Bridgestone Battlecross X30R. He's had this on for a few weeks now and it seems to be doing really well. It's a bit of a firmer compound, but it's perfect for the winter when the ground gets hard. Coupled to the wheel, we have the Formula Cura Fuel brakes on the rear again, with a prickly caliper mount, as well as the prickly rotor protector. Now he's got a bit of a theme going on here with the brown and silver. I think it looks really good. This just helps protect his rotor, which is actually a prickly 220 solid rotor. These are extra thick, so they dissipate the heat better and they don't ever warp. I'm going to get a set of these for my bike. I'm impressed after trying his. Thoroughly recommend these if you're after a new brake setup. Yeah, check it out. Holding the bike up, we have a JFG Racing CNC kickstand. Kickstand's great. It pairs to the NTC foot peg brackets, and I think he said he found this really cheap, like 20 to 30 pounds on Amazon. So if you're after a kickstand, have a look around on Amazon. You might be able to get a really good deal like he did. Yeah, it's just a nice touch, and all this silver looks really cool together. So, as I mentioned at the start, total price for this build is £15,000. There are a lot of things that I'm not going to mention, like the headset type and the spacers and the little bolts and bits here that he's had to add on, but we'd be here all day if I started mentioning all those parts. So that's the rough build. Yeah, he's really happy with it. I think the colour looks great. It's come together really well, and it performs fantastic. It's really fast both on and off-road. But yeah, plenty more content to come on this bike with mine. I've added a few parts to mine recently, so stay tuned for some content on those. But yeah, if you enjoyed today's video and you want to see more of this bike, like I said at the start, don't forget to subscribe if you're new around here. And if you're an existing supporter, I really appreciate the support. Try and check out some of the discount codes I have. For any of these parts, if I can get discounts, I would have put the code on the screen. It just helps the channel out and motivates me to make more videos. But yeah, make sure to follow us on Instagram at StingyRoger with 2 R's. We're also on TikTok, so at StingyRoger with 2 R's again. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.